Hello everybody, this is a July 2019 budget Nordic deck profile for Yu-Gi-Oh! I quickly would like to announce that my next videos are going to be Cubics, budget Phantasm Spiral, and non-budget Crawler. So I know I'm a little bit late to the party with this budget Nordic deck profile here. Legendary hero decks haven't been released for a while now, but it just took me a while to get around to getting Triple Alvis. But now that I do have Triple Alvis, I can confidently say that this deck is pretty casual. I mean, if you bought Legendary Hero decks, I would go ahead and play Phantom Knights or Heroes, both of which are superior to Nordics. So this deck can guarantee you pretty much guarantee you a Gulvig pointing down to a Nordic Synchro or an Acer Synchro, which can't be targeted. So decent board, just kind of underwhelming. Not the best, definitely casual, but still budget and pretty cool Norse mythology. So hopefully this deck proves to be somewhat unique because I do have some cards that were not in the set. So Triple Alvis is the first card. So with Gulvig, the Link monster, you are banishing up to 3 cards from your hand or your field to special from the deck, but it will be a neg because you're going into your synchro monsters. So with Alvis, you can banish just this one Alvis, and then Gulvig specials from the deck, and then Alvis, when it's banished, you can send to the graveyard a Nordic you control and 2 Nordics from the deck to special an Acer from the extra deck. So you send to the graveyard the Nordic that you just specialed with Gulvig with Alvis, and then 2 from the deck to get your synchro monster. It also has another effect. You can when your Acer Synchro is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card, you can pretty much tag it out for another Acer Synchro with a different name. You can only do that once per duel, but it's a decent failsafe. So 3 Diverg, this is a pretty important card, I would say. I like to play it at 3 because it's pretty much Marauding Captain, except it's a normal summon, not a special summon, an extra normal summon. Not using its Nordic Relic effect, but I mean, you want to get your boards a little bit bigger so you can go in for more damage. So Triple Vanadis, I play through Vanadis definitely because it's an Ascendant tuner, but it can substitute itself for an Alfar or a Beast tuner. So you can use it for any of the synchro monsters. Also, you can send a Nordic from deck to grave, and then this card assumes that send card's level. So I do play that level 5 Alfar tuner. So Vanadis can be a level 5. So Triple Tan Grisnir, which is kind of a slow card. It just shows how old this deck is and when the gameplay mechanics that were relevant at the time of this deck's popularity. But when it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon 2 level 3 tokens, which, you know, doesn't always come into play. It's a slow play that you're setting up, but you can use those tokens as synchro material. So 3 Mimir, I like to play 3 Mimir because I do like to have a good assortment of levels for the synchro summons being a level 2. It's a fairly easy special summon to pull off. If it's in the grave and you control a Nordic monster, you can discard a spell to special summon this card from the grave. So 2 Tan Goster, which is again like the White Goat, kind of slow, kind of outdated. It can special summon itself when your monster is destroyed by battle. So there are a lot of forms of removal that are not battle that exist nowadays, but it can also turn itself to when you flip it or when you change it to attack position. You can special from the deck. Again, slower play that will take some time to set up, but specialing from the deck is good if you can actually pull it off. So 1 Garmer, which after damage calculation, if it battles a level 4 or lower monster, you can return that monster to the hand. I just like to have a good assortment of these Nordic monsters with different effects. So I just include this one. It's a level 4. It can be useful. 1 Gullfax, which is the only Nordic Beast tuner I include. If your opponent controls a synchro and you control no monsters, you can special this card from the hand. So it just goes to show what decks were being played, synchro heavy decks, when this deck was popular. So 1 Losolf, which is kind of annoying because you have to have another card on the field for its normal summon effect to go off. You can special a monster from your hand with level less than or equal to the other monster's level. So I only play 1 because it needs another monster. So 1 Mara, which is a decent card because you must use synchro monster or materials in your hand to make a synchro monster besides this card, but it can be a pretty easy way to get a synchro monster. 1 Svartalf, which is the last Nordic monster I run here. Both of these are Nordic Alfar cards. So this one is a level 5, so you're probably not normal summoning it too much, but when it is normal summoned, you can recur a Nordic monster from the grave. I just have it in here because of the Vanadis play, sending it to the grave with Vanadis and making Vanadis a level 5. And then we have the Rescue Cat for our last monster. This probably could be at 3. Just last time I checked, it's a fairly expensive card, so this is budget. And it sends itself to the grave, and then you special the 2 of the white goats or the black goats from your deck, and then you're using them as synchro or link material. You could probably bump Rescue Cat up to 3 if you want to spring for it and go for like a more monster heavy, less speller trap oriented build. So spells, 3 Dark Hole. I do like playing this card at 3 because sometimes your opponent can just get rid of the board that you worked so hard for, your Gullveig pointing to a synchro, and you're left with nothing. But if you top deck this card, it can actually save you the game or keep you in the game. And it did come out in Legendary Hero decks. So 2 Pot of Desires. This card is important for the draw power, and sometimes you are banishing a lot of your hand with Gullveig, so you do need that advantage. 2 MSTs. This could be Twin Twisters, just maybe 1 Twin Twisters, 1 MST, depending on how many Legendary Hero decks you picked up. Just good generic back row removal. And then last spells are Monster Reborn and Reinforcement of the Army, which both, again, came out in Legendary Hero decks. You're lacking a monster, you need 1 more material. Monster Reborn gets your board a little bit bigger, and Rhoda searches your Diverg, the one that lets you normal summon again. So traps, 3 Gleipnir, the Fetters of Fenrir, which is your Rhoda, your Nordic Rhoda. Unfortunately a trap, so pretty slow, but I would include this in the deck unless you're going for like the Rescue Cat monster heavy build. Last 5 traps, 3 are Bottomless and 2 are Magic Drain. These are budget cards, older cards that probably don't cost too much nowadays, and you may already have too. These are really the ways that you're interrupting your opponent's play. Sometimes with the Gullveig in the Nordic or the Acer monster, you're really just left with a vanilla monster, a beat stick that don't do much on your opponent's turn or anything really. So this is how you're interrupting your opponent, whether it's negating spells or stopping their summons or destroying or banishing their monsters. So extra deck. You could probably play some relevant extra deck monsters and then Winter Cherries, but this is not the Winter Cherries build, so we're running 3 Gullveig. So this one, like I said, you banish up to 3 from your hand or field to special from the deck, and then you're using those materials for the Acer Synchro. It also cannot be targeted by attacks while it points to an Acer, and then that Acer cannot be targeted by card effects. So it's the boss monster, the support that the deck needed, and the link 1, very easy to make. Pretty much guarantees your board with an Acer Synchro. And the last link I run is a Traffic Ghost, which is again a budget card, but I mean, ideally, if possible, you can set up your board with triple Nordics or triple Acers underneath that. That could happen. It just would take an awful lot of setup and probably won't happen. But I mean, this is just allows for that if it does happen. So synchros going from lowest to highest. 1 High Speed War Chambara, cheap card which can attack twice. Just good generic synchro here. Then Coral Dragon, which came out in Legendary Hero decks, which is a tuner, so you can synchro climb with this card. We got Clearwing Synchro Dragon, which probably has been power crept now that both XCs and Links don't have level, but it does protect itself from monster effects by negating and destroying that monster effect. And then Scrap Dragon, which again came out in Legendary Hero decks. This card is good spot removal. It's just pops a card on each side of the field. So good, again, a lot of generic different level synchros here. So we have a Beals, which is pretty much a beat stick that can't be destroyed by card effects. I mean, battle isn't happening too much because it does have such high attack. And then we have Beelzius for our level 10 synchro. An even higher beat stick that can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. It also turns your opponent's monster to 0 attack, and then you gain a bunch of life points. But just remember, you have to use dark tuners for these 2 cards. So you can use Vanadis, you cannot use Skuldfax. And then we got the Acer Synchros, 2 Odins, 2 Thors, and 1 Loki. So Odin is probably the best in my opinion. They're all very underwhelming in my opinion, to be honest. But Odin is the best because it can't be, it's unaffected by spells and traps during your turn. So these two are not quick effects. This one does say quick effect, but it also says during your battle phase that you can negate the activation of a spell or trap. So this one is the best for a few reasons. That it's unaffected by those battle traps and the quick play spells, which can be relevant, and also has the highest attack too. But its additional effect too. So this one negates the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Again, it has to be during your turn, so it kind of underwhelming again. But this one, if any of them are sent to the grave by your opponent's card, you can banish the respective Nordic tuner, whether it's Ascendant, Beast, or Alfar, from your grave, and then special summon whatever card you're using back to the field. And if they are special summoned that way, you get an additional effect, whether it's drawing one card, which is the best, inflicting 800 damage, which I think is the worst, and then recurring a trap from your graveyard. So Norse mythology is cool, but is it good in Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know. Definitely a budget deck that is probably casual. And just to reiterate what I said in the beginning of the video, I have next videos are going to be Cubics, Budget Phantasm Spiral, and Non-Budget Crawler. So thank you for watching. Have a good one.